When I was younger, I had to go to a lot of church. I was always in some choir practice or Bible study or vacation Bible school. I was constantly in church. So a lot of maybe my philosophy as an adult stems from some of that. But I remember also having a lot of questions about what I was reading or what I was being taught. And I was never one to just take someone else's word for granted. I always had to do my own scholarship. And I woke up this morning with a verse in my memory that I know I've never said out loud, and I've never even tried to submit it to memory, but it was there. It was in my data bank. And so I went looking for it, and I found it in Proverbs. And it says, as a dog that returneth to his vomit, so is the fool that repeats his folly. Okay, let me do that again. As a dog returneth to his vomit, so is the fool that repeats his folly. And I got to thinking about that, and I think I've had a fair degree of frustration in my life trying to help people who at the end of it all just couldn't be helped. And it wasn't for a lack of trying. I think they set out needing help, and they certainly want you to show up for them in real time. And you do. And you help them, and you pay a bill, or you bail them out of some situation, or you sit down and you give them all of your counsel that you know. And they don't get better. They return to their vomit. They are who they are, and they're kind of happy being that person. So what can you do with someone who is almost gleeful about their unawareness? I'm hesitating using Christian vernacular right now. I'm not going to call them sin, and I'm not going to call it sin and call them sinners and all of that stuff. But that would be what most would say about that. But I just think people get used to being who they are. You don't want to experience the uncomfortableness of being in a totally different place. You are really more comfortable living in the ways that you've always lived. You can clean up a person's house who's a hoarder. And if you leave them to their own devices within a month's time, that place will look the way it looked when you saw it the first time. Because they are comfortable living as a hoarder. You can detail someone's car and gift them this beautiful, clean, immaculate car, and visit them a month later, and that car will still have fast food wrappers and whatever inside of it, because something in them says, this is my normal. So when you're trying to help someone, keep them sober, give them peace, which I always tell you, peace is boring. People who say, I want peace, will probably not stay there, because real peace is a routine, it's ordinary. Get up early, go to bed early, work in between. Peace is boring, and most cannot handle it. So I'm here to tell you, don't get frustrated with people who show you who they really are. You should believe them, because they know themselves better than you. And it may break your heart to let them go, but you have to, because they like the chaos that they live in. They love that chaos. That's what they know. They love being spiteful. They love being vindictive. They love being unforgiving. And if you don't want to live like that any longer, and you have that choice, then you need to pull away and keep it moving. A dog returns to his vomit. It's a disgusting picture in your head if you think about it. But that's what it looks like. Like, how can you choose that over this? Is what you're thinking in your head. I created this incredible foundation for you, and you still choose to go back to the dysfunction. You still choose to go back to the vindictive girlfriend. You still choose to go back to the liquor in the bottle that didn't solve your problems the first time. How can you choose that? And you can get very self-righteous and pull yourself away from them and think that somehow you're not that person anymore. But I bet you if I stood with you long enough, I would find the vomit in your life that you continually return to. It could be self-doubt, self-deprecation, a vindictive spirit, an unforgiving spirit. I promise you, we all have a measure of it. And we have to fight against it. I'm recording this on the eve of me taking that final test for my real estate license. And I'm telling you, I am not 100% confident about it because it's a lot of information. And, you know, is a test the real measure of what you know about the business? No, but it is the hurdle that you have to get over to get to the other side. In my case, if I'm going to use that same scripture to talk about me right now, you should know that I've quit a lot of things. You should know that I started a lot of things with good intentions. And somewhere along the way, I decided I didn't want to finish that. And I walked away from college. I walked away from the Air Force. I walked away from marriage. I walked away from a lot of things because I was on my way to some other place in my mind, and I knew that what I was doing then wasn't it. But at 61, I don't know how many more opportunities I'm going to have to walk away from something. So I'm determined to stay put, as I have in this location for 11 years. If you knew me, you would know that I moved every 90 months. I know, I don't know. I didn't stay in places very long. I just had to always be someplace else. But I'm at the other side of my life. I'm in the third chapter of my life. And I know that there's currency in being dependable and being familiar. And so I want to do things differently. So I'm determined to pass this test, and I'm determined to put all of my people skills at work doing the second thing that I love, which is probably the thing I love most, if I'm honest, which is talking about homes and design. So here goes everything. And I pray I'm not the guy at the end of the day that also returns to his vomit, because I do desire to be better. And I desire to surround myself with people who also want a better life and will do what they need to do to sever the ties of the past so that they can move quickly into their futures. Good morning. I'm Brother Eden Douglas in Albuquerque, New Mexico, wishing you only the best as you move forward in your particular lives, doing the things that are fearful to you, but necessary for your growth. Peace.